an excellent win for the people. A federal district court judge in D.C. just threw out Donald Trump's centralized database they just created last year, I think with the help of Planeteer and Elon Musk still our Social Security data, as being unlawful. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why Judge Sparkle Sukanan, I love her name, she's from my husband's native Trinidad originally, Sparkle Sukanan ruled the way she did. Secondly, I'm going to tell you why this decision is part of a pattern of this administration. Last term, this Donald Trump's second term, and why he loses all the time and has such a losing record. And then third, I'm going to give you a few of my thoughts. First, the centralized system that they created is called the Systematic Alien Verification for Entitlement System. And you know this is something like a solution in search of a problem. The Heritage Foundation did data research of 24 years. They found in 24 years, there's been like dozens of cases. 24 years. That's statistically less than 1%. It's like 0.2%. Why are you spending all this time and energy to catch something that's really a non-issue? They're like not smart. And they're also wasting our tax dollars. And anyway, so they created this system and using combination of Social Security information. Remember Elon Musk and Doge illegally, unlawfully accessing our data, and a whistleblower told on them, and that's the subject right now of several criminal investigations and lawsuits and civil and criminal lawsuits soon. So they did this illegal thing, combined the Social Security, the IRS data, which is unlawful. I think that's already also been determined to be unlawful recently, and then voter rolls. And note that red state people, I'm sorry, there is a process for you to try to protect your data. Your legislatures that you guys voted for, maybe you not personally, y'all voted for, gave their data up to the administration. They sued 34 other states that were like, nah, we're not doing it. And of all of the states so far where a decision has been made, they've lost 6 times. In Oregon and all sorts of, they've lost. New York, I think, no, you're not supposed to do it, it's unlawful. States in charge of voting. So with the rest of what they had, they did what they had, and they created this database system. And the law that they violated were 4 of them. First, there is this thing called Privacy Act. Congress created the Privacy Act specifically to make sure that when people, private citizens, have their trust of their personal data or information to the government's not going to misuse it and just have it accessed by anyone. They're going to protect it and secure it. That's the Privacy Act. There are a lot of specific rules you have to follow. Second, the Social Security Act, similarly, Social Security is a number that follows you from birth to death. It's related to your benefits. It's related to jobs. It's related to like your finances. Everything is related to Social Security. Very important. So the Social Security Act specifically has rules to ban that. And then there's this other act, this law. Let me see what it's called specifically. The Computer Matching and Privacy Protection Act, specifically because Congress did not want the government creating dossiers on private citizens, on creating massive centralized databases, or using private information for uses that aren't necessarily, like if you give up your tax information, it should only be related to financial or taxes, not to use that and use interagency database matching for another purpose, is what they did here. So that was a specific laws that were created specifically to avoid this. And the final law that they violated was this law called the Administrative Procedure Act, which says that the executive branch of the government executes the law, but if they're going to make a change or make a policy or do anything that's going to be really disruptive and substantial, they have to do what's called a notice of proposed rulemaking. Essentially, they notice they're going to change the rules and they give the public the opportunity to comment. That's why it's called notice and comment period. And if they do this notice and comment period and the notice they get from the public, the information, data, resources that the public presents on the record doesn't support the actions, they're not supposed to do the action. If they do, it's going to be considered arbitrary and capricious. Similarly, if they don't even follow the process at all, you're going to get it thrown out. And so that's what the 4 things the judge said what they violated. In addition, the harm. They've been kicking off people, actual citizens, United States citizens, were being removed from doing this database that allows the states to also access, because the states control voting. And so the states that they tag in it, the states like Texas have just been removing people. And it's a mess. It's been a mess. It's confusing. It's just like they're just crazy. So there's a harm there. And then judge also mentioned the fact that a lot of people, when they're naturalized, they don't necessarily go back and adjust or change things. They just go and live in their life. Like me, when I got married, I took my husband's last name, but I didn't even bother updating some of my records. So out there, my maiden name is connected to my records. But that doesn't mean I'm not who I am. That doesn't mean I have a new last name. Doesn't mean that if you see my first and last name that I was born with. So similarly, the judge was like, it's right with error. And then finally, the judge said, you guys always know about discovery. When we talk about discovery is the thing. During the discovery process, they were able to access some of the memos and research that the government was doing before they launched the system. And in the memos themselves, they said there's right for room for a lot of errors. So the government itself recognized that this was not a fail-proof process. Besides the fact that the whole system was unlawful and violated the law, at least 3 laws related to privacy. In addition to that, the least of the problems, they also knew that even if they did it, that they're going to be kicking people off, not allowing people to vote. Now, this is what I call, again, a solution in search of a problem, because the Heritage Foundation crunched numbers, did some analysis. In 24 years, they found dozens of examples of voter fraud. And statistically, less than 1%, it's 0.4%. So why are you wasting all of our time, money, interest, and resources on this? This administration pulled lawyers off from other critical things that we need, whether it's white collar crimes, whether it's investigating child trafficking or corruption or international law. They pull lawyers in the Department of Justice from all different areas to focus on immigration and retributing Donald Trump's losses. And it's been a massive failure because their attempts to indict people have been failing because it's not based on any evidence. They're going on a fishing expedition, and what they're finding is really nothing at burgers, but they're wasting the time and resources. This is another example of that, wasted time and resources. But I digress. So that is why they do this, because there's a pattern. They do not follow the law regarding, there's a pattern and process for Administrative Procedure Act, like I told you, and for revoking grants, it's to be individual by individual basis. The person who got the grant or the individual, the entity must first fail in doing their job, and then the government has a chance to give them a chance to cure. They're just revoking grants on cultural basis because it's environmental justice, or they're revoking a grant for science and research because the university didn't punish Palestinian students that were protesting enough, or they have 2 trans athletes. So for that, they're going to take away research from cancer that benefits all of us. Really dumb. The process for firing people. They were firing probationary employees who have excellent records. Some of them who a department just got from another department. We just got this person, and they got fired because they were probationary employees. And the judge eventually said that was unlawful, but by then it was too late. So he breaks stuff first and didn't worry about it later. Donald Trump's administration did this the first term, and they're doing it the second term. It's part of the Heritage Foundations. They're controlling this man. He's a puppet for all of their nonsense. And they're stupid because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So they had to know, like I tell you, I'm JJ Legal. If this is the first time you've seen me, one of the things I do is monitor the lawsuits filed against the Trump administration and the dockets. I take you beyond the headlines to give you a sense of calm and let you know that the judges and courts are working. And this is another example of it. So part of the things I tell you is they don't follow process, whether it's the due process owed to duty to migrants and immigrants before they search them, detain them, or kick them out of the country. The process for firing people, the process for revoking grants, the process for making rulemakings, and that's why they get pulled back, because whoever's impacted negatively by their process, all are going to go sue, and it's costing us money because they pulled lawyers from all different departments to use our resources and money on this, and then the people sue and to get their money back. There's a recent controversial case right now because of Broadview 6. The government said, okay, we'll give you your money back. So our taxpayer dollars are paying all these people who have to sue to redress something that the government shouldn't have done in the first place. They shouldn't have revoked the status. They shouldn't have fired those people. They shouldn't have denied the people their rights or shipped them off to be tortured in prison. And now all of the lawyers that have to fight to get these rights back, we're going to be paying for that. At the end anyway, so that's my final thoughts. At the end of this 18 months, or the end of this 2 years, hopefully at the end of the administration after 2 years, if y'all get enough people, Operation 2/3, 20 U.S. senators, I don't know, a couple hundred House of Representatives, you get a 2/3 veto-proof majority, you can remove the entire administration, all the sycophants, Just kick them all out. You can have comprehensive immigration reform, common sense gun laws. You can do some reform with the security, so that the what's the people, Supreme Court reform, ethics reform, put like age limits. You can do so many different things. Anyway, JJ Legal, each one teach one. Those are my thoughts. Share this video so more people know. Go to jjlegal.com.